Ambassador Jiho Park stood at the massive window of the space station, watching ships from different worlds fly past like colorful fish in a dark ocean. He had been humanity's voice to the Galactic Council for 3 years now, and he thought he understood how things worked. But lately something felt wrong. It started during the trade meeting with the Vorthak last week. These crystal beings were usually very direct, speaking in facts and numbers. But when Jiho mentioned Earth during the discussion about human mining, rights, the Vorthak speaker went quiet. Its crystal body, which normally glowed bright blue, dimmed to almost nothing. "We prefer to discuss your current settlements," the Vorthak had said, its voice crackling like breaking glass. "Your origin point is not relevant to these negotiations. Origin point. Not Earth, not homeworld. Just origin point, like Earth was some forgotten factory where humans had once been made." Jiho shook his head and walked away from the window. The station's corridors buzzed with activity. Tall, thin aliens with too many arms carried glowing boxes. Small, furry creatures that looked like walking carpets rolled past on mechanical wheels. The air smelled of ozone and strange spices. In the human section, things felt more normal. The walls were painted in earth tones, browns and greens that reminded everyone of home. Except more and more humans didn't seem to care about that reminder. "Hyeji," Jiho called to a young woman working at a computer terminal. Her eyes had been replaced with mechanical ones that could see in 17 different types of light. Silver circuits ran under her skin like glowing tattoos. "Yes, Ambassador." She looked up, her artificial eyes whirring as they focused on him. "Have you ever thought about visiting Earth?" Hyeji tilted her head, confused. "Earth? You mean the old world from the history files? Why would I want to go there?" She gestured around them. "My family has lived in space for 6 generations. I was born between the stars. This is my home. But Earth is where we come from, where humanity began." "That's old thinking, Ambassador." Hyeji's voice carried strange harmonics that made her words seem to echo in his bones. "Home isn't where you came from. Home is where you choose to be. And we chose the galaxy." Jiho felt a chill run down his spine. "What do they teach you about Earth in school?" "The basics. It was our first world. We lived there for a long time. Then we spread out to the stars. The end." She shrugged. "It's not really important anymore. We're something new now." Something new. The words followed Jiho as he walked through the station. In the marketplace, he stopped at a stall run by the Zilani, insect-like creatures that shared one mind across thousands of bodies. "Honored human," the Zilani worker buzzed. "We have excellent protein cubes today. Perfect for the wanderer race." "Wanderer race? Is that not correct? The species with no fixed home? The ones who drift between stars like cosmic seeds?" Jiho's mouth went dry. "We do have a home, Earth. We've told you this many times." The Zilani's compound eyes reflected his image 100 times. "We have no records of this Earth place. The council files show humans as a nomadic species. Always moving, always changing. It is what makes you special." That night, Jiho sat in his private quarters staring at his computer screen. He had clearance to access historical files that most humans couldn't see. His hands shook as he typed in his password. The files were all there. Earth's location, its history, the great departure when humans first left their homeworld. But as he read deeper, the story became stranger. The files talked about Project Genesis and the transformation and necessary evolution. One document made his blood run cold. It was a message from Dr. Minho Kim, dated over 200 years ago. "We told the council that Earth was just our starting point. We let them believe we were always meant to be nomads. It was easier than explaining what we really did to our homeworld, what we really did to ourselves." Another file, this one from Captain Yuna Lee. "The pure strain humans on Earth have agreed to maintain the fiction. They will keep the world running while the rest of us explore the galaxy. But they understand. No one can know the truth about what Earth became. Not yet. Maybe not ever." Jiho leaned back in his chair, his heart pounding. He opened his communication system and sent a message to Earth. He had never contacted the homeworld directly before. The response came back faster than should have been possible. "We've been waiting for you to ask questions, Jiho." The sender was listed as Sunwoo Park, Earth Guardian. "When you're ready to know the truth, come home. But be warned, what you learn will change everything you think you know about what humanity has become." Outside his window, the stars twinkled like distant eyes, keeping secrets that suddenly seemed too big for the galaxy to hold. Somewhere among those stars was Earth, and Jiho was beginning to understand that no one talked about it anymore for a very good reason. The truth was waiting for him, 37 light-years away, on a world that might not even be a world anymore. Dr. Minho Kim watched the last natural sunrise over Seoul from his laboratory window. Tomorrow, the Great Dome would cover the city forever, protecting the people inside while the world outside changed into something unrecognizable. His coffee tasted bitter, but everything tasted different now that his body had been modified to process the new atmosphere. "The children are asking questions again," said Sora Nam, walking into the room. She looked normal, but Minho knew that 17 other versions of her were working in different parts of the facility. Her consciousness had been split across multiple bodies 6 months ago, making her the most efficient researcher they had ever had. What kind of questions? They want to know why they can't breathe regular air anymore, why their skin is turning blue, why they can see in the dark. Sora sat down, her main body tired even though her other selves were still working. "Little Jihoon asked me if he was still human." Minho set down his coffee cup. Through the window, he could see the massive machines working across the Korean peninsula. They were breaking down the old world and building something new. The Han River now glowed with engineered bacteria that could clean radiation from water. The mountains were being hollowed out to create underground cities for the humans who chose not to change. "What did you tell him?" "I told him the truth. That human is what we choose to be, not what we were born as." On the table between them lay the daily reports. The ocean teams had successfully created the first deep swimmers, humans who could live underwater and breathe liquid oxygen. Their lungs had been replaced with gills, and their bones were now hollow like birds. They could dive to the bottom of the Pacific and survive the pressure. The space teams were doing even better. Captain Yuna Lee had taken her crew to Mars last month. They no longer needed spacesuits. Their skin was thick enough to handle vacuum, and their blood had been changed to carry more oxygen. They could survive in space for hours without protection. "The Arctic team sent good news," Sora said, checking her tablet. "The ice shapers are ready. They can survive on frozen worlds now. Their body temperature runs at -20 degrees and they eat ice for energy." Minho nodded, but his mind was elsewhere. Through the laboratory's special cameras, he could see what was happening to Earth itself. The Amazon rainforest was no longer green. It pulsed with silver and gold, a living computer that could think faster than any human brain. The Sahara Desert had become a sea of moving metal, millions of tiny machines that could survive in any environment and build whatever humanity needed. "Sir?" came a voice from the intercom. "We're getting the final readings from the Australian project." Minho pressed the button. "Go ahead." "The continent is fully online. It's now a single living organism. Heart rate is steady at 2 beats per minute. Brain activity is constant. It's ready to launch." Sora looked confused. "Launch?" Minho smiled sadly. "We're not just changing ourselves, Sora. We're changing Earth too. The continents are becoming something else, something that can survive anywhere in the galaxy." Outside, children played in the courtyard, but they were not the same children who had played there a year ago. These children had silver eyes that could see across vast distances. Their laughter created sound waves that helped plants grow faster. When they held hands, they could share thoughts and feelings directly. One little girl, Neon, could survive in pure vacuum. Her parents had volunteered her for the most extreme modifications. She looked human, but her heart beat only once per minute, and her blood was blue instead of red. She was beautiful in a way that made older humans feel sad without knowing why. The orbital stations are reporting success too. Sora continued reading. The solar touched are adapting well to life near the sun. They can process radiation directly, for energy now. They don't need food anymore. Minho watched a group of teenagers walk past. They moved strangely, their limbs too long for Earth's gravity. They had been designed for life in space, where they could float and fly between the stars. Their bones were filled with helium, making them light enough to be pushed by solar wind like living sails. A message came through on his personal communicator. It was from his daughter, who had joined the Deep Space Project. Dad, we made it, to the edge of the solar system. The Voidwalkers are incredible. They don't need ships anymore. They can travel between stars using their own bodies. I'm so proud to be part of this. But the message that worried him came from his son, who had stayed unmodified. Father, the normal humans are starting to feel afraid. We're becoming the minority. Some of us want to leave Earth and find a world where we can stay human. That night, Minho wrote in his personal journal, "Today we finished the transformation of Asia. Tomorrow we start on Africa." The children don't remember what normal humans look like. To them, having gills and blue skin is natural. They think the old humans in the history books look strange and weak. He paused, looking out at the night sky. Earth's moon was now covered in growing cities inhabited by humans who could live without air. The stars seemed closer than ever, full of worlds waiting for humanity's children. "I hope our children will forgive us," he wrote. "We saved the human race, but I'm not sure we saved humanity." Captain Tae-hyun Choi floated in the observation deck of the starship New Dawn, watching his team work on the planet below. The world was beautiful, covered in purple oceans and silver forests that sparkled like metal in the orange light of its twin suns. But it was dying. The native plants were sick, and the few animals left were struggling to survive. "How are the coral gardens doing?" he asked Arin Joe, his first officer. Arin's skin was like crystal now, able to turn sunlight into energy just like plants. She never needed to eat regular food anymore. "They're singing," Arin smiled, her voice making soft musical sounds. "The new corals are talking to the old ones. They're teaching each other how to clean the water." This was how humans worked now. They didn't destroy worlds to make them livable. They helped worlds heal themselves. The coral reefs growing in the purple oceans below were part Earth coral, part alien life. Together, they were fixing the planet's sick waters. Taehyun's daughter Nayeon pressed her face against the viewing window. At 10 years old, she had never breathed air that wasn't made by machines. Her hair moved like it was underwater, even in normal air. And when she laughed, flowers in the ship's garden grew bigger. She was more at home in space than her father had ever been on Earth. "Daddy, why do the old records talk about Earth like it was special?" she asked. Her voice carried strange tones that made other people feel calm and happy. Taehyun thought about the question. He had been born on Earth back when it still looked like the blue and green planet from old pictures, but his daughter had never seen it. To her, Earth was just another planet mentioned in history books. "Because it was our beginning," he said finally. "But we've grown beyond beginnings." On his personal screen, a message appeared from deep space. It was from the Garden Keeper, a human whose consciousness now lived in 17 different bodies scattered across the galaxy. The Garden Keeper took care of entire star systems, helping new worlds form and guiding the birth of new kinds of life. "Kepler system project successful," the message read. 3 new worlds now support life. The star itself is healthier. We taught it to burn cleaner. Ready for colonist families. Another message came from Captain Yuna Lee, now leading the Deep Space Fleet. Her body had been so changed that she could survive in the vacuum of space for days. "Found a dying star system near Vega. Local species needs help. Sending terraforming team." This was humanity's gift now. They didn't conquer worlds. They healed them. They didn't take resources. They created abundance. Every planet they touched became more alive, not less. "Captain," called Minsu Park from the communication station. His modifications let him talk directly to the ship's computer with his thoughts. "We're getting a request from the Andorian system. The local species says their moon is breaking apart." "Geological instability?" Taehyun asked. "No, sir. They tried to mine it too aggressively. Now it's cracking." Taehyun nodded. Send the moon healers. They'll know what to do. The moon healers were humans who specialized in fixing damaged worlds. Their bodies were part machine, part living rock. They could merge with stone and metal, feeling the planet's pain like it was their own. Then they could heal it from the inside. Through the ship's sensors, Taehyun watched the planet below getting healthier by the hour. The purple oceans were clearing up. The silver forests were growing new branches. Small creatures that had been hiding underground were starting to come out into the sunlight. The native species is sending us a message, Aaron reported. They want to thank us. Tell them we're just gardeners, Taehyun replied. This is what we do. That evening, Nayeon sat with her father in the ship's garden. Plants from a dozen different worlds grew together in impossible combinations. Earth roses climbed alien trees that glowed soft blue. Vegetables from the Centauri system grew in soil made from moon dust and compost from dead stars. Dad, Grandma, sent me a message from Earth today, Nayeon said, playing with a flower that sang when she touched it. She says Earth is lonely without us. Taehyun felt a pang of sadness. His mother was one of the few humans who had chosen to stay unchanged on Earth. She lived in the underground cities, taking care of the old ways while her children and grandchildren spread across the galaxy. What did you tell her? I told her, we're not gone. We're just scattered, like seeds from one tree growing into a whole forest. Nayeon's flower began to glow brighter. Every world we help, every life we save, every song we teach the stars to sing, it all comes from Earth. We carry it with us. A new message appeared on Taehyun's screen. It was from Earth, from someone called the Rememberer. He had never heard that name before. Your daughter is wise, the message read. Earth is not lonely. Earth is everywhere now, in every world you touch, in every life you create. You have made our small planet infinite. Outside the ship, the healed world below sparkled with new life. And Taehyun understood that his daughter was right. They weren't lost wanderers. They were Earth's children, planting seeds of life among the stars, making the whole galaxy into the garden their ancestors had dreamed of. Ambassador Jiho Park sat in the private meeting room, waiting for his guest. The room was kept at absolute zero temperature, which would have killed any normal human. But Jiho's body had been modified years ago to survive in space, so the cold felt comfortable to him. He needed this meeting to be perfect. The door opened, and Velthara entered. The ancient ethereal looked like a cloud of living starlight, shifting between colors that had no names. These beings were older than most stars, and they rarely spoke to younger species. Getting this meeting had taken months of careful diplomacy. You have questions about your origin world. Velthara's voice spoke directly into Jiho's mind, bypassing his ears entirely. Questions that disturb your sleep. Yes. Why does no one talk about Earth anymore? Why do alien species act like humanity never had a homeworld? The ethereal's light patterns shifted to deep purples and blues. In their ancient language, these colors meant fear and respect. Because your species terrifies us, Ambassador, not through violence or conquest, but through possibility. Jiho leaned forward. I don't understand. Long ago, we ethereals had bodies like yours. Flesh and bone, limited by gravity and atmosphere. Our transformation took millions of years. We barely remember what we were before becoming energy beings. The colors in Velthara's form grew brighter. But you changed everything about yourselves in mere centuries, and yet you still remember who you were. Is that bad? It's impossible. When species evolve, they forget their past. They become something new and lose their old identity. But humans carry their origins forward while becoming something entirely different. You are still human, but you are also something we have never seen before. After the meeting, Jiho walked through the station's human quarter with new eyes. Young Hyeji was teaching a group of alien children to sing in frequencies that made plants grow faster. Her throat had been modified to produce sounds impossible for old humans, but she sang lullabies her grandmother had taught her on Earth. At the engineering section, Dong-Yun Kim was solving problems by connecting his mind directly to the station's computers. His consciousness could split into 1,000 pieces and work on different tasks at once. But when he laughed at a joke, it was the same laugh humans had shared for thousands of years. In the medical bay, Dr. Minji Bay existed mostly as pure thought, her consciousness living in the station's network while her body rested in a healing pod. She could process information faster than the station's main computer, but she still remembered the taste of her mother's soup and dreamed about walking in Earth's rain. "They're afraid of us," Jiho whispered to himself. That night, he received a message from the Vorthak Collective. These crystal beings had always been proud of their unchanging nature. They had looked exactly the same for 10,000 years. "We request human assistance," the message read. "Our younger generations are asking for modifications. They want to become like you, changed but still themselves. We do not know how to help them." Another message came from the Zilani hive mind. "3 of our colony worlds have petitioned for human guidance. They wish to learn evolutionary acceleration, as you call it. We are concerned this will destroy their unity with the collective." A third message surprised him most. It came from a species called the Karathi, who lived in the deep ocean worlds. "Our planet is dying. We know humans can adapt to any environment. Can you teach us how to change ourselves to survive?" Jiho realized that humanity's transformation wasn't just their own story anymore. Other species were starting to see what was possible. They were looking at humans and asking, if they can become anything and still be themselves, why can't we? But not everyone was happy about this. A message from the Council of Elder Species warned, "The human example is causing instability across the galaxy. Young species are abandoning their traditional forms. We request that humanity limit their contact with developing civilizations." The next morning, Jiho visited the station's memory archive, where information about all species was stored. He looked up humanity's official records and found something shocking. According to the Galactic database, humans were listed as species of unknown origin and nomadic race, no fixed homeworld. Earth wasn't mentioned anywhere. Someone had deliberately erased humanity's homeworld from the official records. But who and why? His personal communicator buzzed with an urgent message. The sender was listed as Earth Central Command, an organization Jiho had never heard of. "Ambassador Park, this is Sunwoo Park, speaking for Earth. We know you've been asking questions. We know you've discovered that other species fear what humanity represents. It's time you learned the truth about what we really are and why we let the galaxy think we're homeless wanderers." The message continued. "Earth is not abandoned. Earth is not forgotten. Earth is the most important secret in the galaxy. When you're ready to see what we've really become, come home. But understand, once you know the truth, you can never go back to thinking of humanity as just another species." Jiho stared at the message for a long time. Outside his window, the stars twinkled with the light of 1,000 worlds where humans now lived. But somewhere among those stars was Earth, keeping a secret so big that the entire galaxy had been fooled. The truth was waiting 37 light-years away, on a world that might hold the key to understanding what humanity had really become. Ambassador Jiho Park's ship dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the solar system, and he gasped at what he saw. Earth hung in the darkness ahead, but it wasn't the dead industrial world he had expected from the old records. The planet pulsed, with soft blue and green light, covered in structures that looked grown rather than built. "Welcome home, Jiho." The voice came from his ship's communication system. "This is Sunwoo Park. I've been waiting for you to come back." "Are we related?" Jiho asked, confused by the shared family name. "In a way, all humans are related now, but no. It's just coincidence. I'm one of the original architects of the transformation. I helped design what humanity became." As Jiho's shuttle descended through Earth's atmosphere, he saw that the planet was nothing like the abandoned world he had imagined. Cities existed, but they were living things, vast organisms that housed millions of people while helping the planet stay healthy. The oceans glowed with engineered life that he recognized from worlds across the galaxy. "I thought Earth was empty," Jiho said as they landed in what had once been Seoul. Sunwoo met him at the landing platform. The old man looked mostly human, but his eyes held depths that seemed infinite, and his skin had a subtle shimmer that suggested he was more than flesh and bone. "Empty?" Sunwoo laughed, a sound like wind chimes in a gentle breeze. "Earth has never been more alive. We just learned to be quiet about it." They walked through gardens where extinct Earth animals played alongside creatures from distant worlds. Jiho saw Korean tigers that had been brought back from extinction, but their stripes now glowed softly, and they could survive in the vacuum of space. Children ran past them, human children but with modifications that let them breathe water or see in complete darkness. Every world your people touch, every life form they create, every song they sing among the stars, it all comes back here, Sunwoo explained. "We preserve it, study it, improve it, then send the knowledge back out." They stopped before an enormous tree whose trunk showed flowing patterns of light. "This is the memory archive. Every human who has ever lived, every choice we've made, every discovery and mistake, it's all stored here. Earth forgets nothing. But why keep it secret? Why let the galaxy think we abandoned our homeworld?" Sunwoo's expression grew serious. "Because they needed to feel safe. If other species knew that Earth was still the beating heart of human civilization, they would be even more afraid than they already are." Through the afternoon, Sunwoo showed Jiho the truth about Earth. The planet wasn't a museum or a monument to the past. It was a living laboratory, a seed bank for all life in the galaxy. In the deep oceans, new forms of life were being designed, for worlds that hadn't been discovered yet. In the floating cities, human consciousness was being studied and refined, so that future generations could become even more than their parents. "The Sahara Desert is now a single thinking organism," Sunwoo explained as they stood on an observation platform. "It processes information from every human settlement in the galaxy. When a colony on the far side of the galaxy needs help, the desert thinks of solutions. And the other continents? Antarctica dreams new worlds into existence. Australia grows. New kinds of humans for environments we haven't found yet. The Americas are vast biological computers that design perfect ecosystems for alien planets." As night fell, they stood on a balcony overlooking the Pacific Ocean. The water glowed with billions of tiny lights, engineered organisms that cleaned the water while providing energy for the underwater cities. "The young humans in the galaxy don't understand," Jiho said. "They think Earth is just ancient history." "And that's okay," Sunwoo replied. "They carry Earth with them without knowing it. Every modified human is a piece of Earth walking among the stars. Every world they heal is Earth expanding. Every life they save is Earth's gift to the universe." Jiho's communicator chirped with messages from across the galaxy. Hyeji reporting successful contact with a new species near the galactic rim. Captain Taehyun's daughter Nayeon announcing that her first child would be born on a world in the Andromeda galaxy. The garden keeper describing new forms of life discovered in a nebula 1,000 light-years away. They don't need to know about Earth, Jiho realized. They are Earth. Exactly. We scattered ourselves across the galaxy, but we never left home. We made home infinite. That night, Jiho walked through the underground archives where the pure strain humans lived, the few who had chosen not to change. But even they were different now. Their minds enhanced to remember everything. Their lives extended to centuries so they could be the keepers of human memory. An old woman named Kyung approached him. "My great-granddaughter lives in the Vega system now. She has gills and can survive underwater. But yesterday she sent me a recording of herself singing a Korean folk song her grandmother taught her. The melody was perfect. Above them, the stars pulsed with a gentle rhythm, as if the entire galaxy was breathing together. Somewhere among those stars, millions of humans were living, working, creating, and exploring. They were gardeners of infinity, carrying Earth's gift of life to worlds beyond counting. The other species will understand eventually," Sunwoo said as they watched the night sky. "They're already starting to change, inspired by what we've become. The galaxy itself is evolving, learning from our example." Jiho smiled, finally understanding. Humanity hadn't abandoned Earth. They had made Earth transcendent, scattered across the cosmos like seeds from the most beautiful flower in the universe.